An urgent call for single-payer health care. You're looking at the Ferry Building in San Francisco on Saturday, January 31st, 2026. Our call for single-payer health care took place at Harry Bridges Plaza, and that's Harry Bridges Plaza, the space with the pedestal. And behind me is Marco Cochran's E-Revolution right now. He does these sculptures with mesh. You can see through them.
I am Anna Malino. Now, if you don't think that genocide in Gaza and surveillance of Americans in the U.S. is not connected, well, think again. ICE has an office in Tel Aviv. If you don't think that profiting from sickness and poverty is this country's through line, think again.
Very good.
Medicaid, and I'm sorry to say this, is a classist, racist, second-tier healthcare system in the wealthiest country in the world, and it subsidizes corporations with low-wage workers. And yet we are reduced, thank you, we are reduced to fighting tooth and nail to protest the cuts, to preserve Medicaid, because apparently that's what poor people deserve. That's shameful, considering that we outspend every other country. And that makes our healthcare ridiculously expensive, and we rank 49th in the world. Now, the capitalist state is always looking for new populations to exploit and to transfer wealth upwards. Today, the targets are immigrants, which fuel a new exploitative economy with detention centers, police, ICE, homeland security, surveillance, and on and on and on. Instead of creating something to sell, capitalism in the U.S. looks for more and more vulnerable populations to make a profit from. Populations which suffer from U.S. hegemony, imperialism, sanctions, coups, all of which are created to extract profit. It's really a win-win for the unhinged capitalist system. Except, as U.S. imperialists immiserate people abroad, they also immiserate people right here at home. There's not enough money to fund programs to lift up the well-being of the people in our country, but there seems to be always enough to pay the plunderers. There's a direct spigot from the Treasury to corporations that plunder. And who pays for the Treasury? We do. Exactly. Austerity, which is what exists in U.S. healthcare, is a class war. Let's stop settling for crumbs. Let's stop tinkering around the edges. Let's demand what will heal this country. End ICE, end the terror experienced by people at home and abroad, end funding Israel, and pass the legislation that most people support. National, single-payer, improved and expanded Medicare for all, free from profit. Now, if you'd like to join the movement to build our grassroots pressure necessary to remove all profit from healthcare and achieve the system that will heal our nation, come up to us. We have clipboards here. We'd love to take your name and your email address. We also have some QR codes that you can sign up for National Single Payer. And we also have a QR code for our next teach-in. We're trying to teach the people in California about our U.S. healthcare system and how we can achieve National Single Payer. Our next teach-in is February 12th at 7 p.m. It's virtual. We have a QR code. You can register, and the topic is going to be Medicaid under fire, how cuts in Medicaid affect all of us, whether we're on Medicaid or not. So thank you so much for listening, for being here. I look forward to seeing you February 12th.
So our next speaker is a member of the Green Party in San Francisco. Welcome, Valley Elza.
Hi folks, thank you so much for being here at this rally today amidst all the festivities of the Super Bowl and anything else you could do with your Saturday. I really appreciate it. So like Steve was saying, I'm a county council member of the San Francisco Green Party, and I'm a part of the Green Party because it's very clear that the Democrats do not stand for the working class. And in California, I think it's really, really important to make that distinction. A lot of times Democrats want to pretend like they are the party to represent progressive values. They like to pretend that Black Lives Matter, if you remember that infamous photo of Pelosi and other the House members during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests, standing there and kneeling despite the fact that they refused to pass the George Floyd Policing Act. You know, Malcolm X said that the Democrats and the Republicans are both very dangerous in different ways. Republicans are like a wolf and they have their teeth bared at you and they make it very clear that they're going to eat you. But Democrats are even more dangerous in the sense that they're a fox and they appear like they're smiling at you, but they're also trying to eat you. And I think it's very clear that both parties, because they're both beholden to corporations, they're both beholden to billionaire donors. Gavin Newsom is a brilliant example of this, despite the fact that he ran on healthcare and that he promised nurses unions to get their endorsement that he would pass healthcare in California. When he got elected, all of a sudden, he couldn't pass healthcare. And Democrats have a consistent tendency of promising things to the working class to get elected, only to say, oh, sorry, we can't do it now that we're in office. We can't do it without a majority in Congress. We can't do it without the White House. Even when they have all the branches of government, they still can't do it. Democrats promise the world, but they still can never do it. And so that's why I'm a part of the Green Party, and that's why we need to be electing people that are independent in the sense that they don't accept money from corporations, grassroots candidates that actually have ties to the communities that they represent. In the Green Party, we're actually running a whole host of candidates this year in California. We're running on the Left Unity slate along with the Peace and Freedom Party, which is a party native to California that has also fought for a lot of these values. And principally, we're running Dr. Butch Ware for governor of California. Yeah, and you know, as a Green, we're facing a lot of censorship for this campaign and other campaigns. The media loves to cut out independent candidates, but the Green Party is here. We're active and we are running. So Butch Ware is running for California governor. Check him out because he actually stands for Medicare for all. He actually stands for working class priorities alongside our other Green Party candidates. We're running 5 candidates for the state assembly, which is really fantastic. One of them is Mark Rendon. He's running for Assembly District 14 in the Berkeley area, and his signature issue is CalCare. He's running against the incumbent Buffy Wicks, who used to be a staffer at the Obama White House. She said, just like Gavin Newsom, that she would be running on CalCare, but decided to go back on that when she was in the state legislature. So Mark Rendon is running in Assembly District 14. So if you live in Berkeley, you have the opportunity to elect a Green to the state legislature. And it is so important that we don't just elect Greens to the executive position. We have to elect Green Party members, third party members, you know, at all levels of government. We run at the local levels, we run at the state levels, and we run at the executive levels. So you can support this emerging movement. You know, we just saw, like Steve was talking about, a general strike in San Francisco, across the country, in solidarity with Minneapolis. People really want these things. They want free healthcare. They want to end the genocide in Gaza. And we can do these things by electing the right people and by electing the people that are actually committed to doing these things and not just committed to, you know, saying the things and not following up afterwards. So we have a really exciting Left Unity slate, so please check out the Peace and Freedom Party and the Green Party. We're running so many candidates. And, you know, there's so much energy behind this movement. And in the Butch Ware campaign itself, I was recently made the press secretary of his campaign, which has been a really big honor. And I'm really excited to continue working on that campaign because there are hundreds of volunteers already up and down the state that are contributing to it. And I don't think, you know, the Katie Porters of the world, the Tom Stayers, or anyone else that's running in this race can say that they already have hundreds of volunteers that are contributing across the state. There's so much energy behind this campaign and it's truly, really exciting. So I hope that you check that out. And in general, when it comes to Medicare for All, we have to continue. We have to continue organizing. It's a long-term fight. It's not something that's just going to be accomplished in a single rally. Today is a really great day to raise awareness to the fact that, you know, 80% of people that declare medical bankruptcy are covered by health insurance. Health insurance is a fucking racket, excuse my language. You know, Blue Shield, Blue Cross, all these other companies, they don't care about human health. My wife over here, she's a UCSF medical student, and I hear every day about the struggles of medical students and how they're not taught anything about, you know, how to deal or navigate with health insurance. You know, there's no part of their curriculum devoted to it. And in general, the medical institution is built so medical students turn into doctors that are elite and to some degree classist and very separated from their patients. Only rich kids get to go to med school these days. My wife had to save thousands of dollars just to apply to med school, and we're graduating kids with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And despite the fact that there is a huge paucity of primary care physicians, we need people to go into primary care, which is the most important thing that people need, right? Preventative care, family care. Nobody wants to go into primary care because they have to, pay off their hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And primary care physicians are some of the most underpaid physicians in the entire practice. It's much more fancy to go and become a neurosurgeon or become a specialist, but nobody wants to become a primary care physician in the current system. So not only do we need national single payer to ensure that everyone has access, but to make sure that everyone that wants to be a doctor and wants to take care of their community has the opportunity to become a doctor and do that. So they don't graduate with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. So we can actually have an open process, that doesn't just promote rich kids, right? So it's really, really important that we support this issue and that we think about it long-term and politically. Help support the Green Party with the Bush Ware campaign and other candidates that are running for government. And please support healthcare workers as much as you can. Get plugged in with this movement. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
What do we want? Single
payer.
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Single payer!
When do we want it?
Now!
And there is a healthcare emergency, a healthcare crisis in this country. And right now, today, there's strikers, 32,000 healthcare workers at Kaiser going on strike. Why are they going on strike? Because there's not enough staff there to take care of people. People have to spend days waiting for appointments. They can't get health care. They can't get mental health care in a timely fashion. The system is sick and broken. That's why we're here today. We need to get the trillions of dollars that we're spending for war and put it into health care in this country. And this Congress, we had this rally today because the Congress was saying, the Democrats were saying they were going to make a health care issue on this budget. What happened? What happened? They said we're going to make this a health care issue over the budget. What happened is they approved more money for the military, more money for ICE. Is that what we need in this country?
No!
More money for ICE in the military when people are dying and can't get health care? We need a working class political alternative. And that's why I'm for a Labor Party, and we've got to get our unions to start fighting for that. We've got to get our unions to start fighting for single payer. One of the problems in this strike is the union is not saying we need single payer. Get these insurance companies, HMOs, $1 billion a year HMOs out of Kaiser. All these executives are making millions and millions of dollars while people can't make their payments. People aren't getting care. It's a crime. It really is a crime when you have people profiting off the death of people for more profits. So our next speaker is going to be April, and she came in with the sign, and she's going to talk about what she's been investigating as far as payments. So welcome, April.
I'm happy to talk. My name's April. I work as a health insurance agent for a free service called Ask Ariana that helps people in the state of California navigate this incredibly labyrinthine system. We sign people up for Medi-Cal and we help people understand Covered California, and we've had a front row seat to these absolutely brutal increases in healthcare prices, and I've been documenting them, and this just represents some of the increases that people are having to find the money to pay, from $794 a month to $2,709, from $483 a month to $1,263. Yeah. It's absolutely inhuman, and every day I talk to people who are absolutely at a loss for how they're going to pay for this. They're sick, they're in the middle of important treatment, and they have to make sacrifices so that they can continue to have their health care. And by the way, these are for the cheapest bronze plans that are available, which offer barely any coverage to anybody. And so now people are paying thousands of dollars for nothing. And I am so disgusted that Congress went for their Christmas holiday and allowed these subsidies to expire and allowed people to just have these massive rate hikes for the month of January. And even if the subsidies get renewed, it's not going to solve the problem, you know? It's just an it's a Band-Aid over like a huge gaping wound. And even if the subsidies get renewed, there are already people that we've helped that had to switch to the most minimum coverage for the month of January because they couldn't afford their premiums, and then they got in accidents and now $1,000 of hospital debt. How is that going to help them? They're already in thousands of dollars in debt. I've done legislative organizing around medical debt in the past, and I've talked to people who have lost their homes because they got into medical debt, because they needed to seek care, they couldn't afford to see doctors, and so they could only go to the hospital when it was an emergency. And then they ended up homeless because they can't afford to pay their medical bills. How is that a system that is supposed to heal anyone? So I saw that y'all were doing organizing here, and I just had to join in because I've been sitting at my desk all open enrollment period talking to people who are just, crying because they can't afford their health care and we need something better. So, single payer.
Single payer now! Single payer now!
We have a speaker here. Carol Harvey is a journalist who has been covering the healthcare crisis in Hunters Point and also in the Treasure Island, and she writes for the San Francisco Bayview. And when you talk about in this country and in this city, the health department had a hearing to talk about what's going on at Hunters Point with the healthcare and Treasure Island. They said that the medical system here, the health department, is not even investigating the epidemic of cancers in Hunters Point and Treasure Island. They're not investigating the illnesses that people have. The Treasure Island and Hunters Point was built on a radioactive dump site where decades they spent with radioactive material. In fact, they did a flight recently, it was reported, and they got plutonium in the air. Can you imagine that? Plutonium was recorded in the air above Hunters Point, and it's not just Hunters Point. If it's in Hunters Point, it's in other communities. But that's not even a story for the media, because the corporate media don't want to tell the people about what's going on at Hunters Point and Treasure Island because they want to make more money. They want to build more condos on Treasure Island and on Hunters Point. So welcome, Carol.
Excuse me, folks. Looking at the back of my head, am I positioned all right?
You're good.
Okay. I can't turn because I have debilitating arthritis. I did investigative reporting on Treasure Island, which is radioactive for the last 11 years, and I believe that my arthritis was made more intense because I was exposed to radiation. Now I've been writing recently about Hunters Point. Steve knows all about Hunters Point. He's been investigating it for years. And yes, the Navy told people at Hunters Point, oops, we forgot to tell you there is plutonium in the air over you. It was a naval base for many years. Plutonium, do you know what it is? It's only been used once because it is a trigger for an atomic bomb. It was used once to do the bombings over, it was Hiroshima, I think, or Nagasaki. It was a bomb that killed 60,000 to 80,000 people. People were fried right into walls there because they dropped a bomb over Hiroshima or Nagasaki. I think it's Hiroshima. Anyway, what? I know, but the first one, I think, was, the one that counted. Well, they both counted. But plutonium was the trigger that set that off. Now the Navy says, oops, for 11 months we haven't told you, people of Hunters Point, that there's plutonium in your air. Plutonium is a heavy metal, and it's a silver dusty kind of substance, and it attaches to dust. But if you breathe dust by itself, it can stop your heart. It can stop your heart. If you clog your ventricles, the arteries in your heart with dust, you can have heart attacks. So imagine
plutonium. It's a dust. It's a dust. And if you look up there, you can't see it, but it's up there. Because have you noticed in San Francisco the heavy wind that blows in from the Golden Gate at all times? Air moves. It moves. It blows around. And it's blowing the plutonium from Hunters Point to us right now. You can't see it. It's in that air. And it's diffuse enough that we're not going to sit here and get sick from it. But in Hunters Point, it's very strong because that was a naval base, and that's the center of it. And lo and behold, the people in Hunters Point have been fighting very hard because they are polluted. They've been polluted for years. Strangely enough, a lot of businesses get built down there because it's considered an industrialized zone because people of color live there. And across the United States, you'll notice that industrialized zones, black people live in them exclusively. So the people at Hunters Point have been putting up with this for years, and lo and behold, they're putting a clinic in there. It was open like once a month that people can go in and get tested. This is pathetic. They fought so hard, and they've got this health clinic. So, you know, let's jump to the federal level. I was told that if I come to a demonstration, expect to be murdered. Well, actually, no, because Daniel Lurie, our esteemed mayor, is called Donald Trump in August of last year and said, the city's coming back, you know, from wherever it went. It's coming back, and if ICE agents come in here, it'll impede our progress. So Trump said to him, it was published in the media, that Trump's friends put pressure on him not to send ICE into San Francisco. So, you know, everybody relax. If you're upset about that, obviously you're not. But we're not going to get killed for being here. That's a relief. Trump is the reason we don't have single-payer health care. He is one of the people in line he's president now, and look what he did. April was talking about, where is she? April is talking about what she has to go through every month when people's health care is being taken away from them. My quick solution to this whole thing is we get rid of capitalism. Completely get rid of it. People are looking at me like, well, yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason this kind of stuff is happening. So, we need health care. We need single-payer health care. We're the only country in the world that doesn't provide free health care. That's absurd. We need this. Partly we need it because of the plutonium up there in the air. Because it's people in Bayview are being affected by it, generations of them, and we will be too. Because you can't see it, it's little dust, but it is up there. Plutonium. Think about it. That's a trigger for an atomic bomb. That stuff's floating around in the air. Thank you very much. We need single payer. I'm voting green. Okay. Thank you very much.